Bounce back night in the SEC. I mean, I say that again. I'm on record. This is the best basketball conference in college basketball. Rough first night. 4 losses for the league on opening night on Monday night. Tonight was a little bit of a bounce night. Got the league right, setting back in order. I mean, Auburn dismantling a good Vermont team that has won their conference 8 years in a row. Has it been a frequent NCAA tournament team? Limited athletically a bit, but still, you win by 51 points. You were absolutely dominating. Arkansas, good John Calipari getting his first win in Fayetteville. Give him credit. Struggled a little bit offensively at times, but you know what? You beat a solid Lipscomb team. Then you had Matt McMahon and the boys down in Baton Rouge getting their first win. Matt McMahon even in a suit, guys. Look at Fly in the suit, getting a big 95-60 win over ULM. So big, dominant performance by 3 teams in the SEC on this, I guess, day 2 of opening night of the first week. But my name is Dave Shumate, content creator, coming at you from the SEC Unfiltered channel, folks. This review is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com and use code SECU at sign up to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 or more lineup. Guys, I encourage you, go play a lot of these SEC lines. College football is in the air. A lot of fun picks here. I always remember last year I did a line with Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, hit a lot of that. So I encourage you, go use code SECU at sign up to get your $50 off instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. But let's get right to it. Let's start off. Let's give Cal his flowers. Let's give Coach John Calipari his flowers. First win in Fayetteville. Let's give it up for him. Let's right there. All right. Yep. 76-60 over the Bison of Lipscomb. I thought what really stood out was the defensive performance. You had Lipscomb, the Bison, just shooting 37% from the field, going for 33% from beyond the arc. I thought the kid was pretty impressive for them was the Will Pruitt kid. I thought he looked pretty good. Tough, kind of tenacious, played with a high basketball IQ, kind of got finished with 12 points. But I thought overall, that's what stood out for me for Arkansas. Thought the offense really wasn't there again. 54% from the field, not bad. 21% from beyond the arc for 3-point. Going 4 for 19. Not great there, we'll be honest with you. I thought Adu Thero was all over the place. I'll be honest with you. The Kentucky transfer coming over from Cal. Finished only with 8 points, but had 4 boards. I liked what I saw out of him just initially heading out of that. But I think overall, you got to be pretty fired up about what you saw from Cal and the boys tonight in game 1. I mean, if you've listened to any press conference Cal has done, he's talked about be patient with this team. We're going to get better as the year goes on and stuff. Again, you got Boogie Flander, I think is going to be a big freshman name we're going to be talking about out of the gate. Finished with 17 for 18, 1 for 8 beyond the 3. Did have 3 assists, though, 3 rebounds. Thought that's pretty good for the point guard, having 3 rebounds. It's always key, so you know you're a good rebounding team. Overall, Arkansas with 29 rebounds in total. Well, 35. Sorry, we include 29 defensive rebounds, 6 offensive boards. I do think the X factor for this team, and I tweeted about it during the game, DJ Wagner, the Kentucky transfer, only finishing with 7, going 3 for 7 from the field, 0 for 1 from beyond the arc. If he can get going and hit his ceiling, it doesn't have to be now. It doesn't even have to be Saturday when they play Baylor. It's just got to be at some point when we get about the middle of conference play. If Arkansas is going to go hit their ceiling, I have them finishing second in the league. Chris Phillips had them finishing first in the league. So we're high on Arkansas at the SEC Unfiltered channel. I've been stated, I think John Calipari is going to be similar to when Rick Barnes got rejuvenated from leaving Texas to go to Tennessee. I think it's going to be something like that. But again, he said, be patient with this team. You got to be fired up about the defense. Outside of a few plays, I mean, you saw Cal call a timeout getting pissed off at Big Z on the pick and roll for not staying with his man. Nelly Davis, FAU transfer, coming in with 15 points, 7 for 12, 1 for 4 from beyond the arc. I think Carter Knox is going to be a real player, a real explosive player. You can see when he leaves the court with 2 feet, just an explosive athlete. Some of it was bad defense. He's going to be a guy to keep an eye on as well. I think Trevor Brazil could be another X factor for them. He got hurt a lot. He's been hurt the last 2 years for them, but he's a guy who came back, which I think will be a key addition. Jonas Adu, the Tennessee transfer, whenever he's 100% back, will be another front court presence with Brazil, Adu, and then, like I mentioned, Big Z and Thero as well. So I like Arkansas. Again, a lot of stuff to work on offensively. I think Cal would even tell you that probably in post-game press conference that's going on right now. But you got to be fired up about the defense and kind of the tenacity, getting on the floor when there's loose balls. I like that. Good first win in Fayetteville for Cal. Again, Arkansas getting the 76-60 win over Lipscomb. Then probably the most dominating performance in college basketball tonight. Auburn just dominating Vermont in opening win. Auburn dominates Vermont in opening win. Give credit where credit's due here, folks. They get the 94-43 win. Again, that is a Catamount team that beat UAB the other night, beat Andy Kennedy and them the other night. A good UAB team who was in the NCAA tournament last year just dominated this Vermont team. Again, Vermont, I knew they weren't an athletic team when I was studying them a little bit today, but I didn't realize how unathletic they were when you're watching them. We're just more impressed with how athletic and long Auburn is. And that's what really overwhelmed Vermont early. Defense. Auburn, I talked about Arkansas playing defense. Auburn, dominant on defense. Held Vermont here 25% from the field. 25% from the field, folks. 21.7% from beyond the arc. Again, 43 points in modern college basketball. We're getting up tons of shots, getting up and down the floor. That is impressive. And that's not even the best part. How about the Georgia Tech transfer Miles Kelly coming off the bench, going 7 from 11 from beyond the arc, finished with 21 points. Auburn shot 45%, 46% from beyond the arc, 56% from the field. Third overall, just rebounds 43 to what am I looking at? 31 for Vermont. Just dominated across the board. Phenomenal opening win for Auburn. Again, Auburn is up that schedule this year, folks. They've totally upped the schedule this year. I think Bruce Pearl's kind of learned from that the last couple of years, that you kind of got to up the schedule. Again, college basketball is different, as we know, guys. Nate Oates in Alabama is a blueprint. Look how they struggled last year against Arizona, Creighton, Purdue. Not even struggled, just losing close games. But it didn't hurt them because you weren't getting blown out. They were all road or neutral site games. That's what Auburn is learning to do. You can schedule within the system of the NCAA tournament where you almost hit your floor of seed would be maybe a 6 or 7 if you go win enough conference games. Nate Oates and his staff, really Nate Oates, because he had to flip over the whole staff last year, added a defensive coach this year. He knows the system. He's learned KenPom. He's learned what matters. To my point, Bruce Pearl's learned it this week too. Auburn's got a game against Houston on Saturday at 8:30 on ESPNU. Number 4 team in the country against the number 11. That's going to be a fun game. That's a dual screen potentially with the Alabama LSU football game, folks. But again, they got Houston. They play Iowa State and Maui, at Duke, ACC, SEC Challenge, Ohio State, who beat Texas the other night in Vegas, Purdue and Birmingham. And then you start conference. So a tough non-conference slate. First time I've seen Bruce Pearl do that in quite a bit at Auburn. Definitely the toughest schedule he's had. But specifically, again, folks, to this specific game, even outside of my guy, Miles Kelly, Chad Baker-Mazzaro, 11 points. Came out hot to start the first half. Cooled down a little bit. Denver Jones are going to need his shooting. 16 points, 2 for 3 from beyond the arc, 5 for 6 from beyond the field. JJ Pegues, 3 for 3, 2 for 2. Shot 100% tonight. He didn't miss a shot. 8 points. 3 for 3 from the field, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Again, Auburn's not going to shoot this well. They're not going to shoot 45% from 3 every night. No one is. But I'm just saying, you saw Auburn's ceiling tonight. Was Vermont a little disappointing? Yeah, but I also think you got to give credit to Auburn's athleticism and them getting in Vermont's face, going the full, pressing and defending the full 90 feet. They were all in Vermont's face. Just the length of Auburn, Vermont throwing the ball out of bounds, Auburn coming backside and stealing the ball. It was impressive. It was impressive defensively for Auburn. They're a pretty deep team. You got Janai Broome, Dylan Cardwell, Chad Baker-Mazzaro there in that 3 through 5 spot. Denver Jones, JP Pegues, Miles Kelly. Tahad Pettiford scored no points tonight, but in their exhibition, I think against Charleston, he played really well. So I don't think he was 0 for 4, 0 for 6 from beyond the arc, 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from beyond the arc, 0 for 6 in total. I don't expect that again. And then you got Chaney Johnson, even at 13 points and 9 rebounds. If he's kind of that glue guy that you may not talk about. We may be talking about JP Pegues a lot of nights. Denver Jones, obviously Miles Kelly tonight. We go 7 for 11, 21 points. We're going to talk about you. I mentioned Todd Bedford. We know about Janai Broom. The best best front court defender in college basketball, up for the Naismith Award. Again, 7 boards, 12 points. 2 for 5 from 3. He's improved it. They mentioned it all offseason. You heard it at SEC Media Days, even talking to people talk close to the program in the offseason like I have. He's improved his 3-point shot. You're not going to see a ton of them. I mean, he shot 5 tonight, but overall he's improved. But again, dominant win for Auburn against a pretty solid, let's be honest, contextually, from a mid-major standpoint. You saw John Rothstein tweet today, this kind of felt like a 2-15 matchup. And you may laugh about that, but Auburn dropped the game to Yale last year where they were the better team, better seed. You're glad to see them bounce back. Dominant win against a solid Vermont team that just beat UAB a couple of days ago. It should probably be another at least top 2 team in their league and have a chance to go make their 4th straight NCAA tournament. So big win for Auburn. And then finally, LSU takes care of ULM in the opener for Matt McMahon and the boys. The 95-60 win. Matt McMahon looking fly. You don't see the coaches dressed in the suits anymore. COVID has killed that, folks. I don't really like it. I mean, I kind of like how Nate Oates comes out with the clean sports coat. But Matt McMahon dressed with the tie and stuff, you had to do a double take a little bit because these guys are coming in with just the quarter zips, the sweatsuits, something like. But I give Matt McMahon credit, but overall tonight was a Jalen Reed night. 24 points on 8 of 9 from the field, 8 for 8 the free throw line, 8 boards. That's a hell of a night. That's a hell of a night. Thought Cam Carter, the Kansas State transfer, was good as well. He finished with 21 points, 7 for 12 from down the arc, 4 for 8. The Derek Fountain was solid, 6 points, 7 boards. Givens was fine too, 15 points, 5 for 11. It's solid opening win for LSU. The only disappointing thing is it sounds like Tyrell Ward's going to be stepping away from the program for some mental health reasons. He was a guy that I thought that was going to really have to improve if LSU was going to go take that next step as a team in year 3 for Matt McMahon. I like Matt McMahon. I think he's a good coach. I don't know what the ceiling of this team is. I'll be honest tonight. ULM's not a good basketball team, folks. It's not taking nothing away. You dominate. They did what they did. If LSU's a good basketball team, and it's too early to tell, if they're a good basketball team, they did what they were supposed to do tonight against ULM. Yeah, but not a lot to take from this game outside of Jalen Reed having a big game. Obviously, Cam Carter, and we mentioned some other guys, Givens and stuff like that. But really just the Tyrell Ward stepping away from the team is what stood out to me from the night, if I'm just being completely honest. That's kind of where I stand from this. Again, LSU, I have been finishing kind of in the bottom quarter of the league. Didn't see anything that changed my mind off that. If anything, I know it's crazy to say you're a little lower on a team after a 35-point win, but the Tyrell Ward news is interesting. Again, I don't know any in-depth situations about it. I don't know if a lot of people saw that coming. I'm sure people closer to the LSU basketball program than myself would have probably saw that coming a little bit. But I kind of take that as the bigger news. Next matchup to really pay attention to for LSU here is at Kansas State on November 14th, that Thursday night. That'll be something to keep an eye on. There's their next big opponent, guys. And that's the wrap. Those 3 teams were in action really in day 2 of opening week. We had a lot of them on Monday night. We mentioned that wasn't that great of a night for the SEC, dropped 4 games. And then tonight, I think maybe not made up for it, but in dominant fashion with Auburn getting a big win against a quality tournament team in Vermont. Arkansas, John Calipari getting his first win in Fayetteville over a pretty solid Lipscomb team. Again, all contextually when I'm saying this about Lipscomb in Vermont. Then I think LSU getting a big year 3 opening win. Again, Matt McMahon looking fly in the suit, man. It's just weird to see a coach in a basketball suit these days. Getting a win over ULM by 35. But the bigger news to me is I thought Tyrell Ward was going to take that next step for them to really hit their ceiling. So that's kind of what I take away from that. But guys, bringing it to you all the time, baby. Dave Shumate, SEC Unfiltered contributor, again, former college football recruiting guy in the SEC. I'll be your head basketball analyst here as well. Been following it for multiple years. Grew up in the Southeast. Been growing up going to SEC basketball games, so I have a pretty good background with the SEC in basketball just as well as I do in football, guys. But I appreciate you joining us tonight, folks. 3 massive wins for the SEC, getting back in track a little bit after a disappointing Monday night, guys. But again, I appreciate you joining us on this quick review. You have a phenomenal evening.